Mankind has made some incredible discoveries over the years and built myriad impressive structures, but perhaps the most impressive and unique skill humans possess is the ability to create machinery, intricate and capable of work we could never accomplish alone. Today, we'll be looking at 5 of the most impressive pieces of functional machinery humanity has ever created. Ready to take a closer look? 1. Bertha. Named for Bertha Knight Landis, Seattle's first female mayor, Bertha was a massive 6,700-ton boring machine used under the streets of Seattle to replace an aging and unsafe elevated freeway. With a 57.5-foot cutter head diameter, she remains the largest earth pressure balanced tunnel boring machine ever produced. Built by Hitachi Sozen Sakai Works of Osaka, Japan, Bertha first started boring her 9,270-foot tunnel on July 30, 2013. Originally, the project was supposed to be completed in December of 2015, but Bertha's boring journey was not without issue. The impressive machine experienced 2 halts. First, the machine overheated just a few months and a little over 1,000 feet into its mission. This was initially believed to be because of an unforeseen 119-foot pipe in her way, but later investigation suggested there was damage in the main bearing seal system. There's been an ongoing lawsuit about who's responsible for the stoppage, as of last check, as the pause in work and subsequent repairs caused a significant increase in the overall cost of the project. To fix her, they had to dig down, creating a recovery pit to reach the front of the machine, allowing the repairers to pull out, fix, and replace pieces of the cutter head. Boring resumed in December of 2015, but was halted again the next month when a sinkhole coincidentally opened up near the site. This stoppage lasted until April of 2016, and 1 year later, on April 4, 2017, Bertha at last completed her task. Ultimately, she dug a 1.75-mile, 60-foot diameter tunnel and gnawed her way into a disassembly pit at the end of her route, where she was broken down into pieces and trucked away. Many of her pieces are not reusable, but what is will be repurposed for other machinery and projects. This fate is better than most. Other, smaller tunnel boring machines have simply been buried where their task was completed rather than expending the funds required to dismantle and remove them. With all these hiccups along the way, the digging of the tunnel has been considered by some to be a bit of a boondoggle. However, the machine itself ultimately performs some impressive work, and for sheer size of both machine and end result, it's nothing to be sneezed at. Today, the tunnel Bertha built is in use and the old, unsafe Alaskan Viaduct Way has been dismantled. Of course, if Elon Musk has his way, we'll soon be seeing all new tunnel boring technology, which may come with its own possible mishaps, but for the moment, Bertha holds the title for the largest tunnel boring machine ever to bore. 2. The Seawise Giant. When you think of the world's largest and most remarkable ships, you might think of aircraft carriers or the Titanic. But in fact, the overall largest ship ever built was a ULCC supertanker called the Seawise Giant. She was just over 1,500 feet long, making her the longest ship ever built, approximately 226 feet wide, and she had a full load displacement of 564,763 tons deadweight. Built in 1979 by Sumitomo Heavy Industries in Yokosuka, Kanagawa, Japan, for a Greek shipping magnate, the Seawise Giant's draft was 81 feet, making it too large to navigate the Panama Canal, Suez Canal, or the English Channel. It truly was an unusually massive ship. When construction was completed, the Greek company had taken losses and was unable to complete the purchase, so the tanker was instead sold to CY Tung, a Chinese shipping mogul who offered a refitting to make sure it was absolutely the largest ship ever to sail. Tung also gave the ship its name, Seawise Giant, and began using her as an oil transport ship in 1981. For most of the 80s, she traveled uneventfully between the US and the Middle East until tragedy struck for the Giant in 1988. Stationed at the time at an Iranian oil platform in the Strait of Hormuz, the Seawise Giant was, along with 4 other nearby oil tankers and the platform itself, attacked by Iraqi forces as part of the Iran-Iraq War. She was sunk by the damage she sustained, taking her from the world's largest ship to world's largest reef decor. The Chinese owners took the sinking as a loss and wrote her off. But that wasn't nearly the end for the Seawise Giant. Her remains were purchased after the end of the war by a Norwegian company, Norwegian International, who had her salvaged and repaired by a shipyard in Singapore. By October of 1991, she was resurrected under a slightly altered name, Happy Giant. She then changed hands a few times within Norway, but sailed under the Norwegian flag for 13 years. Eventually, the physical impracticalities of sailing her and the changing face of the oil industry made her more of a burden than a benefit to her owners, engineering marvel though she was. Powering such a large tanker was not only inconvenient but expensive, so the Happy Giant was sold to another Norwegian company, First Olsen Tankers Private Limited, who renamed her the Knock Nevis and turned her into a storage tanker. She was permanently moored in the Persian Gulf at the Qatar El Shaheen oil field until 2009, when her usefulness even as a storage tanker ran out. She sailed one final voyage as the Mons, flying under a Sierra Leone flag to India's Alang Sosia shipyards, where she was broken down and scrapped for parts. Given the sheer magnitude of the ship, it was reported at the time that the Sea-Wise Giant would take a year and up to 18,000 workers just to dismantle. And that's the story of the biggest ship ever made, and given her sheer size and the changing landscape of seafaring in the oil industry, maybe the largest ship that ever will be built and launched. 3. Bagger 288. Bagger 288, or Excavator 288, is a mobile strip mining machine that was built by a German company called Krupp for the German mining company Rheinbahn. It is tied with its sister machine Bagger 293 for the world record for highest terrestrial vehicle at 314.9 feet tall. That means it's as tall as the Statue of Liberty, including the pedestal, plus Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson giving Kevin Hart a piggyback ride on top of the statue's head. The 288 is one of a group of several similar bucket wheel excavators made between 1958 and 1995. Completed in 1978, the Bagger 288 was the heaviest land vehicle in the world at 13,500 tons until it was superseded by the Bagger 293 in 1995, which weighs in at 14,200 tons. The 288, however, remains an incredibly impressive machine and one of the heaviest in the world. Originally built to remove overburden, the material above a resource that might be mined, such as coal, at Germany's Tagebau-Hambach strip mine, the Bagger 288 can excavate up to 240,000 tons of coal or overburden per day, filling as many as 2,400 coal wagons daily. It took over 20 years, but in February of 2001, the machine had completed all the work there was to be done at the Tagebau-Hambach mine, having exposed the coal source there in its entirety. So it was decided that machine would move to another nearby surface mine, Tagebau-Garzweiler. Calculations show that taking the machine apart and moving its components separately would be significantly costlier than simply moving it there in one piece. So at the cost of almost 15 million German marks, or about $7.2 million USD, they drove the world's tallest and one of its heaviest land vehicle 14 miles across the Autobahn, fording the River Irft, Grass, and other smaller local roads. Today, it continues its work at Tagebau-Garzweiler and has made its Hollywood debut, used by Nicolas Cage against his foes in 2012's Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. That's one amazing machine. 4. The Scaled Composites Model 351 Stratolaunch. We've talked about some of the largest land-bound and seafaring vessels mankind has ever built, but what about the air? In April of 2019, the world's largest aircraft, the Stratolaunch Rock, made its maiden voyage at California's Mojave Air and Spaceport. The machine is almost frustrating to look at. Your eyes aren't deceiving you. It has two twin fuselages, the body of the plane where a cabin and crew would typically sit. The Rock, as it's been nicknamed, was built by American aerospace company Scaled Composites in Mojave as part of a project initially conceived and announced in 2011 by Dynetics, an applied science and IT company. The intention is for the aircraft ultimately to be used for carrying air-launched to orbit rockets. Thanks to its twin fuselage design, the Rock has a wingspan of 385 feet, the longest wingspan ever flown. It is also capable of carrying a payload of over 500,000 pounds with a maximum takeoff weight of 1.3 million pounds. The Stratolaunch Rock has not, however, had a completely smooth journey. Unfortunately, Stratolaunch company founder Paul Allen, who was also one of the co-founders of Microsoft, passed away in October of 2018. After his death, the future of the company and its aerospace endeavors were left up in the air. It's unfortunate he did not get to see the Rock's flight in 2019, when it successfully flew for almost 2.5 hours, reaching an altitude of 17,000 feet and speeds of 165 km. Initially, it looked as though Stratolaunch and this impressive, record-setting aircraft would be ceasing operations and dissolved. Its assets were put up for sale in June of 2019. However, by October 2019, it was announced that a sale had been made and that Stratolaunch would be continuing operations, meaning we might yet see the Rock's launch in the near future as planned. 5. Overburden Conveyor Bridge F60. The final entry on this list of impressive machines is the Overburden Conveyor Bridge F60, which is in fact a series of 5 overburden conveyor bridges built by the now defunct East German Volkswagener Betrieb Tachkraft. Designed, similar to the Vagger series, to carry overburden out of open-cast mines, the F-60 bridges comprise the largest movable technical industrial machines in the world and is the longest overall vehicle ever made, beating out the Sea-Wise Giant by a little over 100 feet, and the largest man-made vehicle of all time in terms of sheer physical dimensions. It's also the second heaviest land vehicle at 13,600 tons, 100 tons more than the Vagger 288, though still less than the 293. It has an excavating end and a dumping end with cable cars in between for transporting materials, all carried on 2 sets of chassis with wheels. The overburden conveyor bridges were put to work in the Lusatian coalfields in Germany, where 4 of the 5 are still in use today. The 5th was shut down in 1992 and is now open to visitors as part of the European Route of Industrial Heritage. As well as access to the conveyor bridge, the German federal government has created a visitor's mine, both of which are open to the public in Lichterfeld, Saxdorf near Brandenburg. And those are, in our opinion, the 5 most impressive machines ever built by human hands. What do you think? Are you impressed? Could you imagine designing this sort of complex machinery? Are there any incredible machines we've missed today? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, take a second to give us a thumbs up to let us know you found it interesting. If you're interested in more amazing facts like these, subscribe to our channel by hitting the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on informative videos about fascinating topics like this one.